I left the two of them in the club room, and they'd only just now caught up with me. They must have ran here. Ito especially was breathing very heavily.
なんだ、クルスも来たのか。
Kazuki had decided not to come, evidently. Of course not. I'd never seen her outside, except when we were going to and from school.
で、事件か?
I told Ito what I'd heard from Sarika. He seemed really disappointed.
なんだそりゃ。単に血は喧嘩かなんかで騒ぎになったんじゃねえの？
それだけでわざわざ応援なんて呼ぶか？それに、今日は29日なんだぞ。
だから、気にしすぎだって言ってるでしょ?
I did remember, there was a very quick scene of a weird white-haired waifu, limping on her leg, passing a couple, coming out of a love hotel. Are they the next victim, or I don't know. Kurusu seemed upset. She glanced at the love hotels around her in disgust.
早く学校に戻りましょう。学生がいていい場所じゃない。監視カメラに映っているのが問題になったらどうするの?
She probably didn't want to get involved. Ever since the rebuilding, there have been more cameras around Shibuya than ever before, even around the love hotels. In our school uniforms, we probably stood out. Kurusu motioned for us to go home. And then...
Huh?
I saw something in the viewfinder. On the third floor of the love hotel, the windows around the rooms facing the alley were open. The windows must have been all the way open because the curtains were fluttering out.
なあ、普通こういうとこって窓開いてないもんだよな。
I asked Ito as I looked up at them.
ん?
I guess.
まあそうなんじゃねえの? 使ったことなんかねえからわかんねえけど。
Ito followed my gaze and I saw it for myself, or saw it for himself rather. It felt suspicious. I'd never been to a love hotel either, so I didn't know, but normally you'd keep the windows shut, right? You wouldn't want people seeing or hearing what you were doing.
Huh?
And then suddenly, I heard a sound from somewhere. It was a calming song with a simple melody. I took a closer listen. Was it a music box? It definitely was. It was coming from the room with the open windows. It sounded like it was inviting us in. What was going on? I looked around. The building across from the open window was another love hotel, but it had no windows on that side. I couldn't look into the building like I'd done with the karaoke box last week. And I certainly couldn't climb my way up.
ちょっと、何考えてるの?
I must have had a pensive look on my face because Kurusu had turned to me curiously.
バレないように中に入れれば。
I looked over at the parking meters. There's still only one car. Okay.
裏口ぐらいどっかにあるだろうから、応援の警察が来る前に済まそう。伊藤、そっち側から回ってくれ。
That's kind of dangerous, you don't want to be caught up in the crime scene. When the police come, they're gonna think you're involved somehow, but alright.
おう。
僕はこっち側から。
ちょっとタクル、こっち見なさい。
I began to go around the building, not waiting for Ito's answer, but Kurusu grabbed my arm.
ダメ。こんなの部活の範疇じゃないでしょ。私の言うことが聞けないの?
Crap. She was just a millimeter short of making that face again.
しかもここ、いかがわしいホテルでしょう。
Is that what you're worried about?
それに、もし妙なことに巻き込まれたらどうするの?
I knew all that, but I didn't want to give up. This might be my chance to get a real scoop.
定額にでもなったらどうするつもり? 姉として、 弟を危険な目に遭わせるわけにはいかないの。
Okay, so that's what she is. She's One-chan.
弟というか、家族でも何でもないじゃんか。僕たちは。
Yes, not blood related though, so it's totally fine if there's a if there's a route for her, I guess. Instantly, Kurusu grabbed me by the collar with incredible force and brought her face so close to me that our foreheads touched. I could tell her cheeks were flushed. There was a small, wordless growl from deep within her throat, and her arms were shaking a little as she held me. What was she trying to say? No, I knew what she was trying to say. But Kurusu didn't say it. Kurusu wasn't the sort of awful person who bring up the distant past to try and win an argument. And anyway, that was all over now. It wasn't either of our faults. Tragic backstory. And she grabs her from behind and does a suplex. That's funny. The little transition made her like chin really long. But suddenly, Serika ran over and tackled Kurusu. Oh no. The momentum slammed both of them into the ground.
ちょっとセリカ、何して。喧嘩はダメだよ、のんちゃん。タク、5人でみんな仲良くが新聞部のモットーでしょ。
No, that was never our motto. Stop making things up.
しんちゃんも止めなきゃダメじゃん。
いや、つかどこ行ってたんだ？
ああ、そうだ。喧嘩してる場合じゃないんだよ、タク。
She suddenly hopped up like a cheap toy.
裏のドア開いてる。
え？
喉乾いて自販機なくてホテルの中ならあるだろうと思って裏のドア見つけて開けて中入って自販機やってさすが妖精のダンスじゃんやるじゃんって思って買って一気飲みしてたらあれって
Okay.
んだよそれ。
お前、いつも後先考えずに突き進むよな。
タク、どうするの？
I could tell that Kurusu was glaring at me, but she didn't say anything. She couldn't say anything.
二人で行こう。カップルの方がいざという時にごまかしが効くかもしれない。
Okay?
OK?
Just do that. You know, the whole like fake being a couple trope, but might actually be a real couple pretending not to be a couple, but actually they might be a couple. Anime trope. Anyway, as soon as the words were out of my mouth, Sarika begged me to follow her. I did. And One-chan is left in the dust. Totally not blood-related One-chan. I didn't say it, but in my heart I apologized to Kurusu as I went. Of course, she couldn't hear me, so she didn't say anything.
階段、向こうなんだけどな。
We went inside the hotel from the rear entrance and hid behind the corner that led to the lobby. This was my first time inside a love hotel, and it was a lot less gaudy than I expected. Name was false advertising. There were no fairies and no one was dancing. What a disappointment. Maybe the quiet atmosphere was a selling point? But
ですから人を早くよこしてください。いや、それは新庄さんに聞いてください。
the quiet was ruined by the sound of a police officer screaming into his phone. He was either confused or just excited because he kept saying the same things over and over again. Something had happened after all, and something bad enough that he needed backup. This was my chance. If we could get to the scene before the place was overflowing with cops, we might be able to find an unexpected scoop and totally mess up the crime scene and make the cops have like a harder job figuring out the problem.
ですがこちらでは判断がいえ、ですからそういう状態じゃないんです。
That cop was in my way. Let me just, do some CQC. Whether we took the stairs or the elevator, we need to go through the lobby to get to them.
タク、行くよ。
This is a sneaking mission. Colonel.
早く。
Serica took me by the arm, as if we were a couple, and entered the lobby without trying to hide it at all. She ignored me and walked straight for the stairs.
Oi!
The cop must have seen us because he yelled at us from behind. Ah, shit. He probably hadn't seen our faces. Should you run? No, that would make us that would just make us look suspicious.
部屋から出るなと言っているだろう。はい。いえ、すいません、大丈夫です。それより早く応援を。
He started to mumble into the phone. We crossed the lobby without looking back. Okay, so the cops thought we were one of the witnesses, I guess. Left the room. Or at least a potential witness, anyway.
でも、タクの言った通りだったじゃん。ごまかせたごまかせた。
Though I would personally find it suspicious because they're like in school uniforms, and usually I don't think teenagers are allowed in love hotels, but then again, who knows what kind of love hotel this is. That was a close call. My heart was pounding so loud that the noise was making me sick. Could he not tell that we were high school students? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe you're role playing, I don't know. No, even if he only saw us from behind, he'd be able to tell by our uniforms. Why didn't he arrest us? Maybe he was panicking so much the thought never occurred to him.
テトは、どうしようか。
Serica let go of my arm and turned toward me. That's right. Now wasn't the time for thinking about other things.
外から見たあの場所が現場かどうかはわからないけど、とりあえず3階から当たろう。そこが外れだったら他の場所を見ていく。警察の応援が来たらそこで切り上げ。でも警察の様子から見て、やっぱり何か事件があったんだ。絶対に取って帰ろう。
オッケー。
It was quiet. The policeman's voice was still drifting up the stairs, but it only made the quiet seem more oppressive. Just like you said, the customers had probably been told not to leave their rooms. It was too late for it to matter now, but I was starting to feel a little scared. Come to think of it, if something had happened, maybe the killer was still here?
そういえばタク、まだのんちゃんと喧嘩しちゃってるんだね。
Serica's voice was relaxed. I was grateful. I'd take any opportunity to relieve this tension.
喧嘩ってわけじゃないよ。
Excuse. No, maybe it was.
でもまだクルスって呼んでるんでしょ？気持ちはわかるけど、なんとかならないかな。
Until half a year ago, I call her No-No, her first name. Still pretty, I don't know, this is a funny name to me. No-No. After an incident that had caused me to leave the dorm, I never called her that again. As long as I kept calling her Kurusu, she'd keep being mad at me. It must have been hurting some important part of her.
タク、
Incident at the dorm. Well, the next thing I knew, we were on the 3rd floor. Serica had gotten ahead of me at some point and was poking her head around the corner into the hallway.
誰もいないみたい。
よし。
I took up my phone and got ready to record. Seems like a normal hallway. As soon as I went to the 3rd floor hallway, I found myself holding my breath. My heart was pounding even louder than when the cop had yelled at us. I tried to control myself and looked down the corridor. The rooms must have been very big because the gap between the doors was large. The floor was red, sinking into the black as the hallway stretched away. I could hear the unpleasant sound of blowing air. They must have had the air conditioning on. There were no windows and there wasn't a lot of light, so the hallway looked pretty creepy, but there was nothing out of the ordinary about it otherwise. But still, it was strange. The air felt solid. It felt like someone would jump out from the shadows the second you let your guard down. Perhaps there were traps scattered everywhere along the floor. For a second, the floor seemed to be stained with blood, but I shook that image out of my mind. What was this? It was like the fear you feel in the darkness at night. Was it just because there was so little light? No, it was worse than that. I felt like someone was watching me and enjoying my unease. It was like they were peering deep into my heart.
タク
I almost jumped off the ground with a start.
どうしたの
Don't just talk to me like that. Don't talk to me. You scared the hell out of me. Or scared the hell out of me. Yeah.
なんか変じゃないか。
I gestured my head down the hallway. Serika looked past me into the darkness.
そりゃ暗いからなんか不気味だけど雰囲気作りとかじゃないの
Was it? Was that all? Was I being too sensitive? I tried flipping the light switch on the wall next to me, but nothing happened. Maybe the bulbs were burnt out, or maybe it wasn't the switch for this hallway at all. Damn it, this wasn't 1407 or something. 1407, is that a reference? No, I pressed the wrong button. This one. A 2007 American horror movie about a hotel room and all the alchemists commit suicide. Okay. I don't watch any media besides anime, so I wouldn't know that. I turned around. The only person there was Serika. No one else was looking at me. I took some time to make sure of it before I spoke.
行くぞ。
Let's go. I want to see who's frickin' dead. Serika nodded cheerfully and stayed behind me as we walked deeper into the hallway. I remember the location of the window I'd seen outside. It was probably deeper in the hall, the furthest one back or the one before it.
あの二つのどちらかかな。
I walked as silently as I could down the long hallway toward the last rooms on the left side. With every step I took, I could feel the sensation of the hallway floor through the bottom of my heels. It was like I was being forced to think about nerves I had never used. My body felt very tense. I didn't see any cops in the hallway. Usually, I'd at least leave one person here at the scene. Was this the wrong floor? We reached the second to last door. Room 306. Oh, okay, we can choose a delusion. I guess. I keep pressing escape. That's not the right button. Stop it. I don't know. Escape to me is like pause, you know, for like most like PC games, but actually escape means like leave, like delete. Leave the game. That's not what I want. I guess we could choose a positive delusion. I don't want to. I mean, well, we were alternating, and I believe this is the negative. If we are alternating, but it will make more sense to be, you know, to have a negative delusion, though. You know, this is like a setup for like something horrific. So that's what I'm gonna do. I listened carefully, but didn't hear anything revealing. Just the quiet rumble of the air conditioner.
覗き穴とかないの
Come on.
ここはラブホテルだぞ。
ああ、そっか。
おい、何を。
ノック。
お前な。
And then suddenly the door flung open.
なんじゃこれ誰だノックしたアホは
Okay. Again, I always thought the negative illusions would be more like horror. It just ends up being funny. I don't know. An angry and very underdressed man came storming out. His hair was short and permed, and he had a gold necklace around his neck. Okay, he's a Yakuza? Oh no, this guy was bad news. Serika frozen in surprise. When he glared at me, I shook my head without thinking. And then he turned his gaze towards Serika. The man grabbed Serika by the hand and tried to pull her into the room. All this about like knocking on the door, okay? She turned toward me for help with tears in her eyes. Something really bad was about to happen to her, I can guess. Yes, I can imagine. I had to do something. I mean, you can call the cops, technically. I mean, this is a delusion, but if this was a situation, you could just call the cop. He's like right downstairs. I was suddenly kicked in the solar plexus. The force sent me flying all the way back to the other wall, where I collapsed to the ground. That was quite a forceful kick. The pain was so great that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even stand up. And then the door shut. I could hear the man's yelling and Serika's screams from within. Okay. All I would do was crumble up into the ball on the ground and cry in fear and frustration. Alright, well, what if that happened? Serika was just too reckless. We didn't belong in a place like this anyway. I bit my lip and watched in fear as she kept knocking.
もうやめなって。
そう？
警察もいないし、この階じゃないのかもな。
Weird noise. And, so far all the illusions are kind of like, it's just him having daydreams. I was hoping for a little more, but we'll see, I guess. If the illusions will have a more profound impact on the game later on, I don't know. I flinched back at a sudden noise. Was that the sound of breaking glass?
隣からだったよな。
She was clinging to my back in surprise, with her hands on my shoulders.
多分奥でしょ？
Serika pointed to the next room. We stood there for a moment. The violent sound must have scared her because Serika's easygoing mood had totally vanished. But we waited a while and nothing more happened. There were no voices or sounds of struggle. The hallway was the same as ever. But was I imagining it, or was the hall a little darker than before?
戻った方がいいか。
Serika didn't answer my question. She didn't seem afraid, but she had a serious look on her face as she stared down the hallway. Maybe something had happened and the killer was still there? No, wait. I needed to think about this rationally. There was an officer on the first floor who called for backup. Usually when a call came in, the police never came there alone. There's always more than one. I find that out myself during my reporting, so I was sure of it. I mean, usually, but there have been, I don't know how it works in Japan, but I've seen cases where, police officers don't exactly follow that rule all the time, but, there had to be another officer at the scene. The killer couldn't just be hiding there. If there's any chance of that, the cop wouldn't have just told us to go back to our rooms. Did the killer break the glass during a struggle? No, that didn't make sense either. If there was any chance of them being able to do that, would that officer have gone downstairs? Probably gone down there to tell the front desk not to let anyone else in. I had no proof, but it should be okay. More than anything, I haven't taken any photos yet. Take those photos. Oh, it's probably the froggy doll. I jumped literally when I heard the sudden sound. was a very strange sound, one that didn't belong here at all. I looked and saw that Sarah had gotten so nervous she taking out her get old froggy get old arrow strapped and started to play with it. She probably didn't even know what she was doing. I softly poked her with my elbow. I motioned for her to keep quiet and she seemed confused, but then she realized what she was doing and quickly put the strap back in her pocket. As soon as she was done, I looked down the hall once more, all the way to the front of the room. We should head there. I tried to steel myself, then checked over my shoulder once more to make sure no one was there. I started to walk forward very carefully. I was afraid of making even the slightest sound. Serica followed me wordlessly, with her hand on my shoulder. I grabbed her hand with my free hand, the other was holding my smartphone. She squeezed it tight. Lewd, hand-holding. The feeling of her fingers kept me strong as I walked forward. The next room, room 305, the room at the far end of the hallway. Just like room 306, it had a plain old door, but it felt like it was exuding an intense pressure.
ここからだよね。
A very powerful door, giving off killing intent. She was asking about the sound.
多分な。
I answered, despite not having any proof at all. We waited but still heard nothing. I looked around once more to make sure no one was there, then put my ear up against the door. And then I heard a small sound. It was the sound that I heard outside, the sound from the windows, like a music box playing. It was relaxed and peaceful, even if we weren't, and played the same tune over and over.
この部屋だ。窓が開いていた部屋。
Serica was looking at me.
開く?
I don't know, you should try. No, that's... I hesitated, but she put her hand on the doorknob.
ダメ。
Oh, gosh darn it. She seemed relieved but a little upset. How about we lockpick it, just do a little lockpicking minigame? That's how it is in a lot of video games. You just do a easy lockpicking minigame and you can open it, right? I knew exactly how she felt. I felt the same way. I moved away from the door. I would have liked to take some photos before I left, but... Huh?
今、鍵の音しなかった?
Yeah. That's what it sounded like. We were too confused to move. There was no sign of anyone coming out. I slowly touched the doorknob. It gently opened the door. It turned. The door was unlocked. How? As if guided by all the strange things that were happening, I pushed the record button on my smartphone. I gripped the doorknob tighter. A voice in my mind told me to stop, to go back, but it was wiped out by the sound of the smartphone recording starting and the door slowly opening. The more it opened, the less I was able to ignore my curiosity. It felt like something besides Serica was pushing me forward as I opened the door. That song was playing in the dimly lit room. All the lights were off, but the sun outside was streaming through the open window. Its light was very weak. The curtain in front of me, which partitioned off a part of the room, was blocking the light. I gulped and realized my lips were dry. Which reminds me, I like to drink some water actually. I ran my tongue over them to wet them a little. You shouldn't do that actually. Using your saliva to try to make your lips a bit more less dry, I guess. It's actually bad because the saliva actually evaporates very rapidly in your lips and makes them even more dry, so you shouldn't do that. Don't lick your lips. Anyway, then I realized my heart was pounding. The sound was so loud I thought my heart might have somehow moved up into my ears. It seemed to be beating out some bizarre rhythm and it was making me sick. I forced myself to swallow my saliva and hoped it would keep me from throwing up. Then I took a slow step forward. I held my phone to record what I was seeing, and then I realized something. That curtain wasn't partitioning the room. It was a bed. There was a raised spot off the ground with a circular bed surrounded by a curtain. The light was streaming out from behind it. The windows we seen were on the other side of it. The song seemed to be coming from there as well. Crap. It was too dark. I went to flip the nearby light switch and forced myself to stop. No. I couldn't touch anything in the room. Some kind of crime must have taken place here. I mean, yeah, technically you shouldn't disturb the crime scene. And also, you might end up leaving some fingerprints, which might, implicate you in the crime, which is no good. But I was scared to go any deeper in the darkness. My shoes made my steps loud against the floor. There was no response, only the relaxed melody. I gave a signal to Sarika, who was still behind me, and went deeper into the room. What? For a moment I just...
なんか金属がきしむ音みたいな。
I felt like I was hearing it between the gaps in the music box's melody. But there was no change that I could see. No one jumped out. Nothing was moving. There was just the sound of the music box. I looked from one part of the room to another to make sure nothing was amiss. And then I slowly moved forward. Waifu? With pigtails? Weird. Oh, okay. Someone was lying on the floor. Where'd she come from? Or at least, well, maybe she was here this whole time? I don't know. When my eyes adjusted to the gloom, I saw... Oh, well, yeah, there was another dead person. Oh, that's the cop. That's, well, the cop's partner, I guess. A police officer. And a woman? Anime girl? The officer was lying up against the bathroom, with his legs splayed and his head drooping. The girl was lying on the floor, face down. They showed no sign of noticing us. No, that wasn't right. The glass behind them was shattered to 1,000 pieces. And what is this? What is that glass? Like, is it like a mirror or something? Weird. Is that just normal in, like, love hotel rooms? Not like a giant mirror? The second I understood what was going on, the hand holding the smartphone started to shake. Crap. Yeah, bye. I could see a little blood dripping off the police officer's head. I spun around as I heard the noise. The warmth drained from my face in an instant, and my whole body shivered. Someone was sitting on the bed. Just relaxing on the bed. I staggered back and slammed into Sarika.
逃げよう。早く。
逃げるんだよ. But I couldn't move. My hand was frozen as it pointed the smartphone toward whoever was behind the curtain, and it wasn't doing what it told, or what I told it, rather. Damn it. I took a step back, tripped, and then fell to the floor. My lungs weren't working right. The silhouette moved a little and I flinched. No, it didn't move, the bed was rotating. Whoever was behind the curtain showed no sign of noticing us. They didn't budge an inch.
何なんだよ。
Well, it looks like a person, but also there's a weird, like... What's that line? You know? Uh-oh. Sarika's voice sounded like it was far away. I ran back to the entrance and slammed myself into the door. It wasn't opening. It wasn't opening.
なんで開かないんだよ。
Sarika yelled back at me. Sarika screamed as she slammed against the door. Maybe it was just locked. I don't know, just, open it again. I helped her try to batter it down. I mean, just turn the lock, Though it is weird that someone opened the lock and then someone closed it again and locked it again. If it is locked, or maybe it was, I don't know, I'm not sure if it actually is like someone locked it, or maybe it is stuck or something. But it didn't work. It was like trying to batter down a wall. Oh. Do. Suddenly, I heard a knock at the door. I reflexively jumped away without thinking. It was coming from this door. The knocking was rhythmic and constant. It was just a knock at the door, but my whole body started to shake. Someone was on the other side of the door. Someone was knocking. It definitely wasn't the police. I felt as if my sanity was boiling away, melting out from the soles of my feet on upward. Oh. You gotta steer clear of knives, otherwise we might be stabbing stuff we weren't meant to stab. I don't know. Don't open that door. Right, go out the back. Don't open that door. I grabbed Sarika's hand and ran back to the room. Oh, but the curtain was open. And I fell silent on what I saw. What was that? Okay. The curtain was open. I was wondering what that was. I guess wires? There's a man there, sitting. No, he was moving slightly. The bed was moving in time to the sound of the music box. An eerie sound came from the wire wrapped around his neck. The wire was hanging down from the ceiling, choking him. His face was all puffed up, and a color I've never seen before. Intense music, oh. His pants were wet, and the stain extended to the bed itself. The smell of piss and shit hung in my nose. It was very smelly. He wasn't alive. He was dead. Why was he dead? Did he suffocate? Why was the curtain open? I mean, that's weird. I mean, I can guess what's happening, it's very similar to the other killings. I imagine he set up this contraption himself to kill himself in a weird way, but who was opening the door and unlocking the door and opening this curtain? Who was doing all that? A weird ghost, I guess. What the hell was he doing? Why was he dead? My right hand moved without me realizing it. I needed to use a window to escape, but I pointed my phone's camera at the body instead. The body spun slowly. Each time it went around, the wire made an awful sound and dug deeper into his neck. And I guess, yeah, the bed itself, they mentioned before the bed rotates for some reason. Is that like a feature in love hotels? I don't know. It had dug in so deep by now that the man's neck was the size of my wrist. Very small neck. Very similar to the anime girls, neck. At least for, what's her name again? No? I remember her first name, No. No-No's neck is very small. Anyway. The skin must have been broken because it was bleeding a little. Sarika was right next to me, but her voice sounded far away, like she was talking through a telephone. I needed to get out of here, but I couldn't stop the filming. Why was I doing this? Why was he dead? I mean, the wire dug deeper and deeper into his neck without waiting for me to come up with an answer. The body turned away from me. I could see the back of his neck. The flesh around the wire was swollen red and black. I heard a muffled sound like something hard snapping against inside of a bag. The head slumped just a little. Huh? His neck had just broken. That must have been the sound of his neck breaking. I could hear Sarika's voice. Get out of here. Get out of here. My body moved as I heard another sound. I spun around. Oh. Hey. Okay. So she's crying tears of blood as well. Similar to the first guy we saw before, eating his own arm. Alright. I screamed. Yes. And then I heard something from behind me. I don't know what I did, but the next thing I knew, my whole field of vision had turned red. Then I felt something like a ball hit me. Before I could understand what it was, everything faded to black. Okay? Well. September 30th, 2015, Wednesday. I guess it's the next day. midnight. Well, here's the cops, I guess. Mr. Detective Man. Sorry here.
Shinjo さん、所持品と防犯カメラの映像から親族に裏取れました。死亡したのは柿田博則22歳。渋谷在住のフリーターで更新でマーケティングのアルバイトをしていたようです。
Caution? That's caution. A venture capital company located in Shibuya, the president of the post-earthquake reconstruction business. Okay, it's a company. They built the new Shibuya, I guess, after the earthquake. Gave a lot of funding, put the cameras around. They've made a lot of money. They've expanded, I guess. This Koshin Corporation.
更新でバイト？恋人はい
ません。同居人もなし。一人暮らしだったようです。
くそ。
Shinjo cursed. If he was single and not in a relationship, it would take time to figure out his private life. And Koshin was one of the companies that have profited the most from the recovery projects in recent years. Part-timer or not, if he worked there, he was probably pretty busy. It was possible that his co-workers knew just his name and nothing else about who he was outside of work.
新庄さん、マスコミへの対応どうしますか？海読みテレビやニコニアのネット記者が引き下がらなくて。
それから現場にいた例の子たちですが、壁表の新聞部と言っていた2人、状態は落ち着いたみたいなんですが、やはり所々要領を得ません。
Okay, so, I mean, I guess we're not dead, you know, those two. There was another one, though. Another, like, I guess, kid, but they're not mentioning them.
もう一人の女の子も身元を示すものを何も持っていなく、柿田の交友関係、親戚筋から洗っていますが、まだ当たりません。
Okay,
こ
no.
っちは完全黙秘です。
I was wondering what happened to her. I was wondering if, like, she died or something, became a zombie, but I guess she's still around.
あと、先ほど検視の方から問い合わせが。
待て、勝手に。
ニコニアニュースの渡部です。すいません。一体何が起こって？
出て行け。許可なく入るな。
一言お願いします。
Shinjo's men physically dragged the reporter out of the room. So my closet keeps making noises. One of these days, I gotta exercise my haunted closet, but I don't know how I'm gonna go about doing that. Well, he had to stop himself from putting his hands to his head and moaning. He couldn't let his men see him acting weak. Shinjo had been with Police HQ Section 1 for less than 7 years. He didn't get along with his superiors, but he managed to beg his way into being in charge of this case. I guess is the detective of a personal connection, maybe? Maybe this was his way of avenging the death of an older detective who he admired.
窓枠の鑑識が終わったらすぐに外から見えないようにしといてくれ。あのネット記者は最近何するかわからん。はい。検視は俺が直接対応する。それから会社の仕事周りへの人数を増やしてくれ。上には後で俺から言っておく。
はい。それで例の子たちは？
それも俺が持つ。じゃ、よろしく頼む。
はい。
His men raced out of the room. They've never had a case like this before, and they were probably pretty excited. So was Shinjo, to be honest. The whole thing was such a mess that he didn't even know where to begin, but his detective's instincts were screaming at him to start doing the work needed to find the killer.
よし。
A lot of hmming and hawing.
はい、信用調査会社フリージアでございます。
His call was answered on the first ring, like always.
俺です。
あら、新庄ちゃん、遅かったわね。もうちょっと早く連絡が来ると思ってたけど。
すいません。
Shinjo apologized without thinking and for no clear reason. He always felt like a naughty child when he spoke to this CEO who happened to be a woman. Happened to be a
現
woman?
場の
What does that
面倒
mean?
をちゃんと見てるから苦労すんのよ。少しはあの人みたいに、チャランポランで行きなさいな。
先輩の性格まで見習うつもりはありませんよ。
真面目だわね。いつまでも真面目が美徳だと思ってると痛い目見るわよ。
百瀬さん、そんなことより相談したいことがあるんです。
Shinjo cut her off before she could continue her lecture and gave her a brief description of the scene. This was a violation of the rules, but the only way to solve a crazy case was to be a little crazy yourself. That was the first thing he learned from that older detective.
それって殺人なの？自殺なの？
Momose asked her question after he described the situation. She cut to the heart of the problem.
現状ではそれがわからないんです。
The hotel had gotten suspicious when Kakita had never come down after checkout time. When more than 10 calls to the room went unanswered, they contacted the police. 2 officers as well as someone from the hotel had gone to the room, where they found the body and an unconscious girl. One officer stayed at the scene to keep it secure, and the others searched the hotel to make sure it was safe. During the search, he'd forgotten to lock the employee entrance in the back near the stairs. That was how the 2 students from Hekiho had gotten in. Shortly after he left the room, the girl woke up and started strangling the officer who'd stayed. He hit his head on the edge of the glass window and knocked himself out. Okay. Weird, but alright. I don't know why I don't know how a little girl strangled like a fully grown adult. I don't know how that works, but... He was going to be fine, but he'd been out cold until backup arrived. Okay. I guess the officer was fine. He didn't die or anything. It seemed like there was a lot of blood though, but I guess maybe he was caught by surprise, you know, and then the actual like crash into the weird glass cabinet thing is what truly like, you know, knocked him out. When the backup got there, they found the girl unconscious on the floor. A boy from Hekiho was passed out on the floor too. The other girl from Hekiho was throwing up, also on the floor. Okay. Well. Takita's cause of death was how do you say that word actually? Why can't I say it? asphyxiation. Asphyxiation. Like I know the word asphyxiation. How do you say asphyxia? Is that how you say asphyxia? Asphyxia? Anyway. Death by asphyxia via strangulation. You know, basically getting choked to death. The wire around his neck was a kind used at construction sites, had been hung in an X pattern from the lights on the ceiling. He had been sitting on the bed as it rotated. That's why there was so much pressure on his neck that finally his head had been severed. You know, I think I've seen this kind of setup before, you know, in something else actually, but anyway. From the estimated time of death, Kakita had passed away before the police had ever been contacted, or even been contacted. The body on the bed kept spinning in time to the music, one rotation every 2 minutes. In the end, the man's head had been cut off completely. Very elaborate. The problem was the girl in the room. There's no indication that she'd ever touched Kakita. There's no fingerprints or any other signs that she touched Kakita's body, the bed, or the wire. The only things they found on her fingernails were skin and blood from the officer she strangled. Also weird that she tried to do that. You know, it seems like because she was like crying blood and everything, maybe she was also under like a weird delusion. That's why she attacked the police officer. In fact, there was no indication she touched much of anything in the room. Everything they found belonged to Kakita. And according to the officer she strangled, when she attacked him, she clearly been in an unstable psychological state. Ah yes, her eyes were bloodshot and out of focus.
つまり何？その女の子は柿田って男が死ぬのを黙って見ていて、部屋の中のものにほとんど触れず、混濁した意識のまま警官に襲いかかって首を絞めたと。
Sounds crazy. Shinjo scratched his head as he heard her sum up the situation. That was what it looked like, at least from what they knew right now. Assuming that there was only people in the room, because I don't know, because I'm thinking, like, how did like you know, how did we enter the room in the first place? Someone unlocked the door, because it seems like, because we heard the crash of the we heard the crash of the glass, and that's how we ended up in the room. You know, we saw that was suspicious, but then it was locked. But someone unlocked it. You know, I was thinking like maybe the girl woke up, unlocked the door, went back to the room, and laid down again to be unconscious. I don't know. That sounds really elaborate and doesn't make any sense. So it has to be that there was another person in the room, maybe. I don't know. Well, and just going by that, it sure looked like a suicide. It was all far too strange. Unless there's some other mechanism that, for some reason, caused the door to unlock and then lock again.
なるほど。厄介だわね。現場に入り込んだっていう壁砲の子たちは？
ショックが大きかったようで、最初は何も喋らなかったんですが、今は少しずつ話し始めています。
But we also heard that weird knocking thing, so maybe we went crazy as well, you know?
ですが、いろいろと問題のある壁砲の子ですから。
He checked with the school and verified that they were part of the school's newspaper club. The security camera at the rear entrance had seen them coming in, which matched with their testimony. But he didn't know what to make of their testimony. The door had opened on its own, or if someone else had tried to come into the room. The door was equipped with an automatic lock, and the only person inside the room who could open it was that girl. Okay, so it is automatic lock. I wonder how that works then. So maybe nobody locked it actually. I guess the moment it closed the door automatically locked itself, and you know, I guess I don't know. I forgot what's his name again. The main character. What's the main character's name again? I kind of forgot already. Taku-kun. You know, Taku-chan. I don't know. I guess he didn't realize that, or at least both of them didn't realize that the door was locked actually, because they were in a panicked state, I guess. There was no sign of her fingerprints on the door, and the security camera in the hallway showed no signs of anyone else trying to go in. In any event, it was extremely rare for a civilian to see a dead body outside of a funeral. And in an unstable mental state, it was extremely easy to imagine things or just outright be mistaken about what was going on. If they turn out not to have any relationship to Kakita or the girl, he planned on letting them off with a stern warning.
結局のところ一番大きな手がかりは部屋に潜んでいたその子なんですが、何も喋りません。
そのままだと非感知よね。
Psychiatric hold, I guess.
はい。
You're gonna assume that she's crazy.
大幅に捜査が遅れることになるので、そうしたくないんです。
Actually, what do they mean by psychiatric hold? Obviously, it means like something to do like, you know, them being mentally unstable. But what does that mean exactly? Or keeping them in custody in a mental hospital. Okay, that's what it means. That's on the news side. Okay. I'm not gonna check the tips, you know, every single time, but I'll just check it every once in a while in case I don't understand something.
ちょっと情報を回させてちょうだい。多分新庄ちゃんの立場的に無理してもらうことになるから覚悟はしといてね。3分後にこっちからかけ直すから。
あ、助かります。よろしくお願いします。
Shinjo went to hang up the phone.
ちょっと。
はい。
そういえばお願いがあるのよ。絶対に新庄ちゃんのためにもなることなんだけど、聞いてくれないかしら。
So it was basically an order then, Shinjo thought to himself.
何ですか？
この件に関して私より詳しいうちの子が一人いるのよ。それで今回の現場を直接見たいって言ってるんだけど、お願いできない？
部外者を現場に？
More people, you know, getting involved in the case.
いつだって物事を解決するヒントを与えるのは部外者よ。
After all, I'm an outsider too, she continued. In his head, Shinjo went over the steps he'd have to take and the time required to take them.
明日、いや、明後日で構いませんか？
さすが新庄ちゃん、話せるじゃない？よくそれで堅物揃いの捜査一課に残れてるわね。
では、よろしくお願いします。
ちょっと新庄ちゃん。
He barely stopped himself from ending the call.
まだ何か？
念のためアドバイスをしとこうと思って2つね。言っておくけど、さっきのは冗談じゃないのよ。
は？
チャランポランで行きなさいっていうやつよ。これから間違いなく新庄ちゃんの理解の外にある事件が続くわよ。その時一番邪魔になるのは常識だから気をつけなさいな。
肝に銘じます。
そこで真面目に返事しているようではまだまだね。もう一つはね。
Momose paused for a second and chuckled.
うちの子に取って食われないようにね。油断してると新庄ちゃんが部外者になりかねないわよ。
Okay. September 30th, 2015, Wednesday. Okay, it was the same day actually. I guess it's from a different perspective, maybe?
なあ、ツイポ見た？